All right, let's dive into one of the most important web framework updates we've seen in a while, Next.js 16. If you're building anything with Next, you're going to want to pay close attention. This is way more than just another version bump. We're talking about a fundamental shift in how you get control and performance out of your apps.
So, you know how some major releases try to completely reinvent the wheel? This isn't one of them. Next.js 16 is all about maturity. Think of it as the framework really growing up. The focus here is on squashing those small, persistent frustrations that drive us developers crazy and giving us what we've been asking for, predictable control over our entire workflow.
So here's our game plan. We'll kick things off with the philosophy behind this release. Then we'll get into the absolute game changer, the updates to caching. After that, we'll look at how things are getting way faster, peek into the future with some smarter tools, and then wrap up with all the key quality-of-life upgrades that make this release feel so complete.
First up, let's talk about the big idea here. Next.js 16 is all about building a more stable, more predictable, and frankly, a more enjoyable foundation for us to build on. It's less about adding a ton of new shiny toys and way more about perfecting the tools we use every single day.
Now let's get to what might be the single biggest win in this entire release, caching. For years, this has been a source of mystery and headaches for so many developers. Well, with Next.js 16, clarity is finally here.
Oh, you know this feeling, right? You push an update, you smash refresh on the live site, and nothing. The old content is still there. You're left pulling your hair out wondering, is it my code? Is it the CDN? Is the framework doing something weird? That ambiguity has been a massive pain point for a long time. And this slide just perfectly captures the shift. We're moving away from that before state, that implicit, mysterious system where Next.js kind of guessed what you wanted to cache. Now we're in the after world, where caching is explicit, predictable, and completely developer-controlled. The crucial takeaway is this: you are now in the driver's seat.
So how'd they pull this off? With a new feature called Cache Components. It's a new model that lets you be crystal clear. You tell the framework, hey, cache this thing. And just as importantly, you tell it exactly when to throw that cache away. It's all built on the foundation of partial pre-rendering, so it's predictability by design.
And to give you that fine-grained control, we get this powerful new set of APIs. Think about a blog, for example. When a new post is published, you can use revalidate tag to update the homepage cache for everyone. Then, with update tag, the author who just wrote the post can see their changes instantly. That's that awesome read your rights behavior. And for stuff that isn't even cached, like live notifications, you've got refresh. It's a complete toolkit for managing your app's data state.
Okay, so our data fetching is finally predictable. That's awesome. Now let's talk about making the entire dev loop faster and smoother. This section is all about performance that you can actually feel.
Yeah, that number says it all, doesn't it? 10 times. Thanks to Turbopack, your local development fast refresh times can be up to 10 times faster. That means way less time staring at a loading spinner and more time staying in that creative flow, actually getting work done.
And it's not just for local development either. Production builds are getting a massive speed boost, anywhere from 2 to 5 times faster. And the best part? This isn't some experimental thing you have to opt into anymore. Turbopack is officially out of beta, and it's now the default bundler for all new Next.js projects.
I love this quote because it really gets to the heart of the matter. Yeah, the benchmarks are impressive, but the real benefit here is human. It's about reducing that friction, that little moment of waiting that pulls you out of your focus. It's about staying in that productive flow state for longer.
And the performance gains don't even stop there. Next.js 16 now has stable support for the new React compiler. This is huge. It means you no longer have to manually litter your code with use memo and use callback hooks to optimize re-renders. The compiler is now smart enough to just handle all of that for you, automatically. It's a huge quality of life win.
So beyond just raw speed, Next.js 16 is also laying the groundwork for the future of development itself. This next section is about making our tools smarter, more context-aware, and ultimately, way more helpful.
Okay, this is a big one. The Next.js DevTools now includes something called the Model Context Protocol, or MCP. Put simply, it's a way for external tools, and yep, we're talking about AI tools, to deeply understand the context of your application. Your routes, your caching strategy, your rendering behavior, everything.
We've all been here. An error happens, and you're staring at this. A wall of cryptic text, a stack trace that's incredibly hard to make sense of. You end up spending valuable time just trying to figure out what the error message is even trying to tell you. But with the Model Context Protocol, the future of debugging looks totally different. Instead of that cryptic mess, an AI-powered tool can analyze the full context of your app and just give you a plain English explanation of the actual problem. This is a monumental shift from just reacting to errors to proactively understanding them.
All right, to round things out, let's cover some of the other key quality-of-life improvements that make this release so polished. These are the under-the-hood upgrades that just make everything work better.
You know, the polish is really in the details. Your build logs are clearer now, so you can see exactly where time is being spent. Prefetching is more efficient, saving bandwidth for your users. The often confusing middleware.ts file gets a much more sensible rename to proxy.ts. For those with custom deployment needs, the new Build Adapters API is a game changer. And of course, you get all the latest goodies from React 19.2.
So what does this all add up to? It's pretty simple, really. Next.js 16 establishes a powerful new baseline for the framework. It's a new standard, one that's built on control, speed, and intelligence.
So if you only take away 4 things from this explainer, let it be these. First, you finally have explicit, predictable control over your data and caching. Second, your entire workflow is dramatically faster from local dev to production. Third, your tools are getting smarter, pointing to a really cool AI-assisted future. And finally, it all comes together in a release that's focused on developer experience.
And all of this leaves us with a really fascinating question for the future. As our compilers handle performance and AI tools help us debug, our role starts to shift, doesn't it? We get to be freed up to focus on what truly matters: architecting great systems and building amazing user experiences. It is an incredibly exciting time to be a developer, and Next.js 16 feels like a huge step into that future. Thanks for joining me.